Konbanwa!
Hello.
How is everybody?
There we go.
I'm waiting to see if I can hear you.
You should be able
Yes,
to hear me.
I can. I'm super paranoid about that now. Ever since that happened once.
I know. I check my audio levels.
Mm-hmm.
I've got my
It's
audio
like,
mixed
you only
together.
ever make the mistake once. That's the whole like.
Sometimes.
Someone who is a good worker, a good employee, isn't someone who doesn't make mistakes. It's someone who only makes mistakes once. Someone who makes the same mistake multiple times, that's someone that you should be concerned about. But someone who makes a mistake, even if it's a really big mistake, so long as they don't make that mistake again, they're a good employee.
Yeah, it depends. There's some mistakes that I don't think you can financially recover. You can recover from.
If it's a mistake and not negligence.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of examples of really bad disasters and mistakes which caused very bad things. I'm like,
and that's a good word there. Negligence. It's a good one to know. Legally, at least.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird legal terms.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I mean, an example of like a mistake. I'm trying to think of one. Like, I remember hearing a story where someone screwed up, and I think rolled a truck in a mine thing. So a quarry.
Oh.
So that was a $30,000 mistake. I'm not going to fire you for it because I just spent $30,000 teaching you that lesson. You ain't ever going to make you ain't ever going to make that mistake again, are you? No, sir.
I just want.
So then why would I pay 30 grand to teach you that mistake, or to teach you that lesson, and then let someone else get the benefit?
Yeah. Also, you are technically the way you phrased that. Your question. You technically said he would do it again. Because you use ain't as a contraction.
Fine.
And ain't as a contraction is a contraction of aren't and not.
Fine. But still, if you want to get pedantic. But yeah, making a mistake shouldn't mean the end of your career. Now, I understand that most people watching this are young, and so they don't care yet. But remember this when you make a mistake.
True.
It's not the end of the world. Learn from the mistake.
I mean, yeah, that's the whole principle of like fail faster and just if you never try to make. If you never put yourself in a situation you can make a mistake, you're never actually going to really achieve much, because to go out and do something and learn something usually results in mistakes.
Yeah, people who have made a lot of mistakes tend to know a lot of ways to not make mistakes anymore.
What was it? Was it
Edison?
Edison, yeah, the light bulb thing.
Yeah, I didn't fail. I just found 1,000 ways of how not to make a light bulb.
Yes, I think it was like 9,999, or 10,000 ways.
I think every time it gets retold, it gets exaggerated. But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I know people have said this before, and I think I've brought it up before. It's the whole thing of 70% of all statistics are made up.
No, it's 98%.
But both of those answers are completely made up statistics, so
Exactly.
there's no way to confirm that. There was actually.
I'm sorry. So 97 is a better number. 97 is a better number than 98.
Why 97?
Because it's nice when numbers end in sevens.
That's why actually some people pick up on fraud if you're looking at like.
Yeah, that's what I was leading into. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot. You can pick up on fraud and all that type of stuff by people's
There's way too
terrible
many 3s, 7s, and 6s in there.
people's terrible idea on what randomness is. Like, most people can't try and fake randomness. They're terrible at it. Human and there's a thing I'm looking for.
I know exactly what you're
I know
looking
you. Yeah, hold up.
It's the which of these two is random picture.
Yeah. I need
So
this.
Random is a weird thing, and depending on how you look at it, there is no such thing as random at all in the universe. It depends on how you define random. Because if random is just the outcome is unknowable because of your finite understanding, fine. If random is it's random, like there is no way of knowing, well, then you've got to ask yourself a number of questions. Like, if I throw a basketball in the middle of that crowd, is it random who gets hit? No, it isn't. Once you throw now, and here's really the question there, because once it's been thrown, you can tell with mathematical certainty who it's going to hit if you knew all the information. However, before I've thrown it, I guess you could call that random, because me as a free agent, I haven't acted yet, and how I act depends, will alter the outcome.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, I found
everybody that does rock paper scissors. Everyone does scissors. I mean that. To be fair, that is the coolest of
No, that's actually a really interesting discussion because there have been scientific studies done on the rock, paper, scissors and about different ways of reacting to it. There are rock, paper, scissors tournaments that people play in. So people have done all of the analysing and stuff to try.
Best of 1 or best of 3?
Best of 3 or 5. I think it's you play 5 rounds.
Okay.
And there's a lot of people have all these different strategies on how you're supposed to win. So one of them is to just annoy people. Be really annoying. Because if people get annoyed, they tend to throw rock. So if you're really annoying and you've made someone angry, they will tend to throw rock more. I believe.
And if you're fighting someone who is intelligent, you then need to throw scissors.
No, the thing is, people generally have associations, sort of, with like what each of the 3 symbols, rock, paper, and scissors, end up giving from an emotional state. Rock is aggressive, proactive. I'm like strength and all that type of stuff. Paper is generally considered calm, relaxed, and scissors is like I don't know. I always think of scissors like the outthinking option. That's the one that everyone always goes to if they think they're outsmarted their opponent. You go to scissors.
Okay, because I was gonna like you've got the beefy tank, you've got the calm support, and you've got the sneaky rogue. That was what I was thinking.
Yeah, basically that's the way to put it.
Which explains why I like scissors, because I always like playing the weakling who's gonna win anyway.
I mean, it goes back to that whole. It's the same thing of. I think it was Magic the Gathering that discussed this. I know I've talked to you about it before, but it's a design philosophy that Magic the Gathering created and gets used in a bunch of other things, which is when you're designing a game, there are 3 types of players that they categorize them as.
Yeah.
Johnny, Spike, and Timmy. And it's and in that case, actually, I don't know if that matches up to rock paper scissors very well, because Johnny is definitely scissors, but I don't know if Timmy is rock or Timmy is paper, because neither of them make sense.
Well, let's explain what they are first.
Okay, so in the case of like Magic and all that, Timmy was, I like to do my one really cool thing. It's not good. It's just big and cool, and I like it. I'm okay if I lose games.
I like to play Exodia in Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah, I like to play my cool thing, and if I lose 10 games but I get to do it once, I'm happy. Spike is the player who really, really cares about winning, and they will play whatever's considered best. Which is oftentimes referred to as meta, playing the meta. Right. And then Johnny are people who like to find their own unique ways of winning. It doesn't feel satisfying to win unless you came up with something creative that other players don't do. And
I tend to be more of a Johnny in those.
100%. I always play Johnny things. You can look through my repertoire of characters in every game I play.
Well, I don't know, because I've done some Timmy as well.
I mean, everyone likes to be Timmy every now and then.
Yeah.
Everyone likes to be a Timmy every now and then, where you just go brain off, me do the big button, me have fun.
Well, my Timmy stuff isn't necessarily brain off. It's like in Magic. It's like, yeah, I wanna do that. That that weird combo and make you discard your entire hand, because I think it's fun for you to discard your entire hand because I'm that guy.
That's still a Johnny thing.
Okay.
Timmy is you play your big 10/10 creature, and then you hit them in the face for 10/10.
Yeah, I had a deck that did that once, but yeah, no, okay. Johnny, I think it's funny when you can't play cards because I'm that guy.
I think in Magic they ended up saying it was blue was like the color of Johnny players. If you like Johnny stuff, you generally liked blue.
And people don't like you.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. It applies in every genre of things. Most people don't like the weird stuff. I mean, like, I can't go into too many because most people aren't going to know them. But, like, just think of how many people who don't like dealing stuff like Ivan in League. Because that's a weird character.
I think Bard's more.
Yeah, Bard too. You can see that's my characters I play. I play Bard and Tarek. The two supports that no one has any idea how to play against.
Yes. So, but that's League of Legends, and I don't know if anybody here knows League of Legends. But yeah. So, get to the original topic that I was going to briefly mention, and it was what was on my mind when I was naming the episode. It's the green banana. So, has anyone ever wondered what's the difference between the green banana and the brown banana?
I mean, they taste different, that's for sure.
Do you know this experientially? Or are you just assuming this?
I've eaten brown bananas that are very brown and bananas that are like... I usually don't eat them when they're green. I eat them when they're like that mid stage. I usually don't eat a banana that's green. I've eaten yellow, the greeny yellow, and then brown.
So I wouldn't quote me on this. I don't think it's necessarily bad to eat a banana that's still kind of green. It's just level of ripeness. Now certainly there is a too early point to eat a banana, and it probably would taste like it. But this all has to do with ripening. So I ate a banana a couple of days ago that was still quite green because I was impatient and I really wanted a smoothie. So like, it needs a banana in the base. I'll put the banana there, and you could tell the difference. Still worked, but what I found interesting because I was curious, so I took a bite of it first. You know when you have a regular, reasonably well ripened banana, the yellow banana, how you've got I'll call it the hard outer shell. I don't know what to call it, like the flesh of the banana. Yeah, it's got this outer shell, and then the inside is this like mushy.
Can we not use the word shell? I think skin is better.
No, I'm not talking about the banana's skin. I'm talking about the flesh of the banana. So you peel off a skin, and now you've got the banana.
Yeah.
And if you were to cut it, there's the moldy spider legs joke. The center of that banana is like more mushy than the outer flesh.
There's got to be a better word for it than flesh. That sounds terrible.
That's when it's a peach. You call it the flesh of the peach. But the outer part of the banana, you've got the outer and the inner part. The inner part that is permanently lubricated. Yeah.
Yeah.
When it's green, that middle part's not there. It's just the outer thing all the way through. And basically, as the banana gets darker, that mushy bit expands, and then you start getting spots on the outside where you get this it looks like bruises on the banana.
Yeah.
So what's actually happening there is it's ripening. And ripening is the process of converting the starches in the banana to sugars. That's why it tastes different.
Wouldn't that therefore mean that like a fully ripened banana would be nicer because it had more sugar?
Yes. The more ripe the banana, the more sugar. So the darker it is, the more sugar. That's why banana cakes are made with really brown bananas.
Oh yeah, because they've mostly fully converted there.
Because now most of it is now sugar, not starch.
Yeah, and so you get a lot of flavour. I don't know if any people is like banana cake a thing that people eat in the US?
Good question. I really want a banana cake now, though.
Yeah, I want one as well, but I don't know if banana cake is something that people eat in the US so much.
Chat. Malcolm, maybe? Do you have banana cake before?
Oh, sorry. I just want to point out, Rock Paper Scissors. Rock Paper Scissors is not a random game because this is a comment that someone made in the chat. That
Absolutely not. Yeah.
There's a lot of weird strategy and stuff people do with it.
Psychology.
Yeah, something I actually did talk about. If we're talking about like randomness in games, right? There was a thing that was talked about with. I think this was an example of using statistics to determine what. Using like a way you're misinterpreting statistics. So this was sport. I had the name bowling. Sport of bowling, right?
Mm-hmm.
Most people know that the hardest thing to bowl in the bowling is a 7-10 split.
Mm-hmm.
But technically, according to statistics, it is not the hardest thing to bowl in the world. Let me
What is the hardest one?
According to statistics, I believe it's
probably
7, 4, 9, 6, 10. Here, let me put it on screen for people.
7, 4, 9, 6. You mean where they missed most of them?
Yes. No, so this is bowling pins, right?
Yeah.
So most people will say the 7-10 split. Oh, it's not on the screen. Hello.
Because one, how do you even get a 7, 4, 9, 6, 10?
It's actually it's actually quite easy. It's called you try to do the whole sweep into the corner to hit all of them,
and you come in at too high of an angle and miss.
You come at a different angle and hit 1, 2, 3. You hit 1, 3, 2, and then hit 5 and 8.
Yeah, or 5 and 9. It's the same deal.
Yeah, it could be 4, 7, 8, 10, 6. It's the exact same thing, just for left versus right-handed.
See, all that is a 7-10 split on steroids.
No, it's actually a lot easier.
It's easier to do?
Yep. But the reason why it's a lot harder, by statistics, I think this has a...
Okay, listen. Is it easier or harder to knock down this weird one?
It's easier to knock it down, but it has a lower rating of being knocked down.
Okay.
So I believe the 7-10 split has a 0.06 success rate of getting the spare on a 7-10 split.
Mm-hmm.
The whole 7, 4, 9, 6, 9, 10 has a 0.3 rate of a spare being got on when those are the pins left up. But
the reason for this?
Because in a 7-10 split, what choice do you have? You can you try and go for it by trying to hit the 7 pin or the 10 pin into the other one.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're doing this, you need to make the conscious choice of. I think the correct way you're supposed to hit it is you have to hit like you have to aim for the smaller pins, the 2 pins, and hit like the 4 in off the side. The 4 and 7 off the side to hit the 9, 6, 10. That's the way you're supposed to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So most players don't even bother. Instead of going for the risky pin bounce, they're just going to guaranteed hit the 9, 10, 6 pins and get 8 points instead of missing and potentially only getting like 5. So even though the 7-10 split is harder, it has more success. Also, why do you think the 7-10 split is so difficult?
Because the only way to hit it is to barely kiss the 7 over 10 to get it to.
No, actually, the way it's set up, it is physically impossible to hit the side of the pin and hit it into the 10.
Okay.
The only way to do it, legally, under proper bowling rules, is you have to hit the 7 so hard and precise that it bounces off the back of the thing and then bounces into the 10.
Oh.
That is the only way to land a 7-10.
So how far back the backplate is a regulation distance then?
Sometimes also the type of backplates used. Older ones were like pretty solid, but the newer ones more like flaps. Again, this is me just finding some random knowledge about statistics stuff that I found a couple of days ago. I thought it was interesting. Technically, there is a way of doing a 7-10 split, but it's against regulation, which is if you go into the gutter and then come out the gutter and hit it on this side, then you can do it pretty a little bit easier. because you can hit it. You basically hit the 710. You got to hit it here, right there, on the side of the 7, so you can knock it directly to the right.
Right.
You can't do that though, because if you try and hit there, the gutter's in the way. So the only way to hit that is if you throw it into the gutter, bounce out of the gutter, and hit on the side. It's the only way to get the 710 split without bouncing off the back.
So in theory, you could do the exact opposite and bounce it off the other wall, but that's really hard to get enough force behind that.
Yeah, wouldn't your ball be in the way for when it bounces back?
No, because the ball's moving still.
I guess, yeah. That's the way of doing it. For most of the time, it's just gotten by slamming it.
Because again, the amount of force you need to do that, the ball's got to be going pretty fast.
Yeah, the video I saw that was talking about this weird statistical thing was they had a bot which they used as like test equipment, which does like consistent throws every single time. Mm-hmm. They could fairly consistently get with the bot the 6-9-10 7-4 split. Mm-hmm. But even with the bots,
because the 4 does all the work.
Yeah,
7.
Yeah, even with the bots' premier precision, you couldn't really they couldn't get the 7-10 split consistently. I think they got it I don't think they got it once in like 50 attempts using the bot. Mm-hmm. So random.
Plus, 7-10 split should be very, very rare because of like you're going to be careful to like avoid them with how you throw in many cases.
I mean, the view of the consistent pattern of just hitting this way and knocking them there. I actually didn't realize how far apart real pins are. What do you think the distance is between each pin?
If the bowling ball is 6 inches, right?
Yeah. Let me double check. Let me double check my facts to make sure. Oh, what was your answer?
I haven't answered yet.
Okay.
A bowling ball is 6.3 inches wide. So I would say the pin's probably about 3.5, 4.
Apart from each other?
Mm-hmm.
Nope. Oh wait, okay. Well, how far apart did you say they were?
About 3.5, 4.
No, they are, depending on how you measure it, either 12 inches apart or 7.2 inches apart.
So 12 inches is
it's from center and center, then and which leaves a 7.2 inch gap.
And I was doing gap. I figured the gap was less than the ball, not more.
No, it's more than the ball.
Oh, okay. Because the gap when you're looking straight at the pin is less than the ball, but when you're at the full angle, the ball could go between.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't realize that. But my experience with bowling is I went once when I was like 10 and I played Wii Bowl.
Could you in theory is there a path between the 1-2-4-7 row and the 3-5-8 row that you could go straight through in middle order?
I don't think so. No.
Is that in theory possible?
I don't think so. I think you might be able to miss like the in between the 1 and 3, but if you look at where the 5 is, if you go through there.
Yeah. Okay. So going through that angle is just not possible.
Yeah.
But you could, in theory, come in from the right and knock out the 2-5. You know, the essentially still have the 1-3-6-10 in place, but knock out everything else. I guess you could do it anyway, but coming from the other side.
Yeah.
No, okay. What I'd love to know is if someone has ever had the 5-8-9 get knocked out and nothing else.
I don't see how that's possible if the pin's not with the 5 pin not somehow falling in a way that knocks over the 2, 4, and 8. Like, how would you hit that? I'm not sure how you could do it. I don't know if that would be possible, just due to the, or it would come down to what we were saying there with luck, not necessarily being. It's not really luck, but it's too statistically difficult for us to calculate.
Right.
Because you have to get the exact angles perfectly, with an exact consistent throw, and account for all the weird conditions like wind resistance, the how oiled the laying is, and all these other type of micro factors, which you can't. It is very difficult to keep consistent. So,
I mean, probably it's never happened before, or at least never that anyone cares.
I mean, maybe. By the way, I never actually did show this on screen. So let me put this on screen now. This is the whole people are terrible at determining random thing.
Yes.
Which of these is random?
Oh, I know the answer.
I know the answer, but most people
Yeah.
have. Which one of these is a more accurate representation of random?
So the answer is the one on the left.
Yeah, this is more accurate on random because we I think that most humans do is they don't consider groupings as random. So if you had to flip a coin 20 times and then and you were trying to lie about the results and try and prove that you did flip a coin 20 times, a person flipping it would probably do something like heads, heads, tails, tails, heads, tails, tails, heads, heads, tails, tails. And they would never do something like heads, 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 heads.
Heads, 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 tails, heads, 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 tails, tails, heads, 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 heads.
Because that is just as likely to happen as the one that I just said.
Mm-hmm.
But most people don't think about that. I believe that's called the gambler's fallacy.
Yes.
Which is the idea that if I flip a coin and it's heads, 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 most people are going to go, okay, it's been heads 3 times now, it's probably going to be tails next.
Mm-hmm.
When in actuality, there is no correlation between your first 3 attempts and that last one. It could just as easily be heads, 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 as it could be heads, tails, heads, tails, heads, tails.
You flip 30 heads in a row, I'm going to start to question if there is tails on that coin.
Yes, because I mean, even though it is like that, but that's because you're saying with statistical probability that you're going to hit the same result 30 times, which is 50% chance 30 individual times. At that point, the chances of that happening are incredibly low.
Mm-hmm.
But the chance, I mean, that's where the probability gets the probabilities can get weird. So,
I mean, in theory, like if you flip something 10 times, the chances of that happening was 2 to the 10.
yes.
And it's always going to be that was a chance of that happening. It's just that like if you start trying to narrow through, like you don't care which permutation you get, then yeah, it's not a big deal. But once you say I want heads 3 times, then tails, then heads, then 3 tails, then heads, that's just as likely as I would have heads every time.
Yeah, and this is where you get into the idea of bell graphs, because you will find that if you flip the same coin 10 times over, the bell graph will have most of the things sitting around. Is it bell graph?
Bell curve.
Bell curve, right? Sorry, bell curve. You'll have most things sitting within
1 standard deviation.
1 standard deviation.
Or 2 standard deviations, I think.
It's,
the reason for
it's
that,
68 for 1,
the reason for
95 for 2 standard deviations, and 99.7 for 3 standard deviations.
Yeah. And the reason for that is that it's true. You are in true randomness. A string of 10 heads is not impossible, and you would expect to see it every now and then.
Yeah.
The reason why you stay within a standard deviation though is because that's also true of tails. You would also expect to see strings of 10 tails in a row too.
So in general, when you even average all of those out, you're generally going to get 50-50. 5. So the median the mean. Sorry.
The mean.
Yeah, the mean, which is the average. Median is the centermost value, which is still 5. No, it's not.
No, it's going to be 1 or 0.
Yeah, because you don't have a median.
When you're talking heads or tails, you're going to be your median is going to be heads or tails. It's not going to be whichever one happened to have more.
The joys of statistics, which I haven't done. I was going to say in 4 years, but that's not true. I was helping Beth on her math homework like 2 years ago. So she was also doing statistics.
Yeah, you're serious in math. We have names for things, and disappointed to find out certain people in this house didn't know what the word integer meant. So let's have a little bit of a math quiz real quick. We're going to go through all of the names for things.
Are you going to ask me them? Is this the question?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, we're just going to talk through them, and try to describe all the different types of number.
Okay.
So the first one is whole numbers.
Any number between. Does 0 count as a whole number?
I don't remember. Because there was one that was like whole numbers, integers, rationals.
Irrationals.
No, yes. Okay, because I skipped one. Natural numbers.
Oh, they're natural numbers. So 0 is. So it's. Whole numbers are 1 to infinity, but only
No. Natural numbers. So let me just confirm the right, because now I'm screwing up. Natural versus whole numbers.
I haven't done natural versus whole in years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Natural numbers include 1.
Yeah.
Sorry. Whole numbers include 0. Natural numbers do not, because 0 is not a natural number. Because think about this philosophically. Natural numbers are your counting numbers. If you don't have something, you don't have 0 somethings to count. You can't count it. You don't have it.
Well, no, 0 actually wasn't a number for a while.
Yes, exactly. Because 0 allows you to have the abstract concept of numbers where there is nothing to count. Natural numbers are counting numbers. I have 1 thing, 2 thing, 3 thing, 4 thing. I don't have 0 thing. I just have empty hands. Different concept.
Yes, apparently, according to a quick Google search, 0 was our first recorded use of someone using 0 was old Mayan relics that had them in like 4 BC. That was our first physical evidence of someone using the term or using the concept of 0. India discovered it independently in around the 4th century. Mid 5th century.
It's not really discovered, it's added to their language.
Yeah, used to the language. And then that got transferred to Europe in about the 12th century.
And it's basically like 0 doesn't mean anything unless you want to do abstract mathematics that need to be able to deal with the concept of nothing. Because all of these languages had the concept of 0 in them. It's just that 0 wasn't a number. It's just nothing.
Yeah, but working with 0 is weird. It's why you can't divide by 0, because 0 is an abstract concept which isn't technically
0 breaks all the rules of numbers.
Yeah,
and so
because it technically doesn't exist. Yeah. So dividing by 0 is just you're trying to split a thing into something that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
So
natural numbers are going to be all the numbers that you encounter in the wild naturally. There are 3 elephants in the room. Yes. There are 2 pineapples. And there are 14 chocolate raisins.
There's a guy in the store who bought 79 bananas. I don't know why there's a guy in the store buying 79 bananas, but there is that guy who exists in your math questions.
Yeah. Chloe had 47 chocolate bars. She eats 45. What does she have now?
I'm trying to think. A very upset stomach.
Well, yes. And the other one that I saw is diabetes. She has diabetes. No. She has 2. She has 2 chocolate bars, and she's very sick.
Or just the guy who has 87 watermelons. I know there are people who like to pick, who like to. If I've seen pictures of it online where people have shown pictures of people's cards in stores where they actually have like 50 watermelons, and they're like, "This is the guy the math problems were talking about." It was him.
Yes, and he's going somewhere where he's going to chuck them at people, not eat them.
Yeah, I'm not sure why you'd ever need 57 watermelons for. Or what did I say before? I remember what number I said before.
You said 47 watermelons, and it's simple. Some sort of work beach parties thing where you're serving watermelon, and it's going to be 100 or 200 people there.
Fair. Oh, yeah, okay, then you basically go back to the whole thing of numbers. You got the integers, which are negative numbers.
You skipped whole numbers.
Whole numbers. Yeah, we said whole numbers. It's all the natural numbers plus the concept of 0.
Yes. Okay. Integers adds in your negative numbers.
Yeah. Then you get rational, which adds in your fractions.
Yeah, and then rational adds in. No, it doesn't add in fractions. It adds in decimals. not fractions.
Decimals are fractions.
No. When it comes to rational numbers, there's a difference.
Oh, right, yeah.
Rational numbers add in decimals, not fractions.
Okay.
Irrational numbers add in all fractions.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
And you also have imaginary,
Yeah.
which is a separate category.
Imaginary. Okay, it's separate in the sense that imaginary has no overlap with the. Well, that's not entirely true. It does overlap. Yeah, no, it's still. Imaginary numbers fully encompass all irrational numbers.
I remember working for imaginary numbers in college, and I still can't. Can you explain the proper use of them where you'd use them in the real world? Because I know it's abstract thinking, but
they include a term which is the square root of -1, where they're used as in things like electronics.
Okay. Yeah, you guys ever had to use I, or if you guys ever get the chart, you guys will probably see it at some point during your math education.
I think they're used in things like circuitry and electronics, because it basically allows you to like carry terms across. Like there's an I which crosses over here. Realistically, there isn't, but it allows you to put together two diagrams and see how they would interact.
Yeah, what I remember about doing I is that you pretty much had to multiply by the exponent. You had to somehow get rid of it by either squaring some stuff or multiplying it by other negatives to try and cancel it out, so you could actually get an end result.
I is treated separately. You just work with it. I times I. So I, which is the square root of -1. I times I is -1. I times I times I is -I. And I times I times I times I is 1. And it just loops over and over and over again.
The joys of math, which I thought I would never have to do again.
And I think that I times I being -1 is the big reason why it's useful in things like electronics.
Yeah, it
is. You might have two things that have an I with them together, and you put them together and you get that negative. It helps the math.
Yeah, I mean, I can.
That's my assumption. I've not done any math with it to really know. So, yeah. The biggest ones that you need to care about would be the integers and the rationals. Okay. Rational and irrational you can kind of link together. But from a computing point of view, the ones that matter are your integers and your technically rationals, but in computing it's called floating point because it's
Ariel,
not quite the same concept.
Is this a really creepy Teletubby?
Yes, Ethan. It's literally a Teletubby.
That
was a literal Teletubby.
Yeah, I guess.
Like, send that picture again. Show it on stream. That was a literal Teletubby.
But no, are you saying tele? No, it's not, because
telephone.
Yeah, but you're saying tele is in like television with the I at the end.
And telephone.
Telephone doesn't have the I at the end though.
It's a Teletubby. There is no E. Sorry, there is no I in Teletubby anyway.
I take offense to that, Diamond. You're saying Teletubbies aren't creepy. I just want you to put yourself in the situation, right? You're outside at night and you just see this like flashing screen, which is the Teletubby's stomach hiding behind a tree, staring at you. Are you telling me that's not creepy?
Yes, giggling and eating tubby toast, and we don't know where it comes from, and it's horribly burned.
You know, I learned something recently about have you guys seen Miss Nikki's profile picture on here? If that's still the same one, I don't know what her current profile picture is.
She changed it.
Oh, she changed it to Harvey. Okay.
Yes.
Which is our two dogs.
New puppy.
Yeah.
As well as Izzy, who they're both on the floor next to me right now. Harvey's asleep.
I'm gonna get a picture of Mr. Blobby.
Okay.
I learned
I'll put in the Talent Tuesday chat as well while you do that, so you can show it on stream. Harvey.
I learned some interesting facts about Mr. Blobby. in the fact that he's supposed to be a children's a children's TV character, but he wasn't intended for this purpose. I was talking to Mom about this yesterday because she remembers the actual full story of it. So hold up, let me put this in chat. Copy image. Okay, how many of you have ever heard? Diamond actually might know this. Diamond, have you ever seen this character, Mr. Blobby?
It was made for a horror show, right?
No, it was made as a piece of comedy to where they would get actors from outside of England, and they'd have them go on this show that they thought was a kids show. They all thought it was a kids show, but it wasn't. It was a show just to make the actors do dumb things, and their fake kids character that they were talking to on the fake show was Mr. Blobby. But Mr. Blobby apparently
and that's why it's creepy.
Yeah, and Mr. Blobby apparently got popular enough because of that it actually sort of became a real kids character.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it wasn't intended as it. So, yeah, Mr. Blobby is...
Joke character that became a real character.
I mean, his voice sounds very evil. I don't know if I can get his... I can't go and check the audio of a thing to get his voice, because that means I'd have to play it. And if
now,
it's something
if you want to
bad,
get that creepy thing off the screen and show the teddy bear instead...
It's not a teddy bear.
It sure looks like a teddy bear.
It's Harvey.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
He looks like a teddy bear.
Hello, there's Harvey. Let me give you guys some eye bleach to wash out the picture of Mr. Blobby.
There's Harvey, the little teddy bear.
He's not a teddy bear. By the way, where does the name teddy bear come from? Pop quiz.
Roosevelt.
What, why?
I don't know.
Do you guys remember does anyone know the story of why teddy bear's named after Teddy Roosevelt?
Was he trying to appease his wife?
Nope. On a hunting trip, I think he refused to shoot a bear because it had little cubs walking by it, and he did not want to. He didn't want to kill the mother. And ever since then, that little story got out. He was a bit. They referred to little bears as teddy bears.
Okay. Interesting.
Okay, and then here is the two doggos sleeping together. Okay, that's a really terrible picture of Izzy.
It's just what they happen to be doing at the time.
That's a really terrible picture of Izzy. She just looks like a blob on the ground.
They both look like blobs on the ground.
Yeah, but Harvey's more distinct in like Izzy looks. I don't know if I want to call it as floofy.
I think she was currently chewing.
She looks fuzzy. If I guess the word for it.
She always looks fuzzy. She needs a haircut.
She does, but she's shy, so you don't want to give her a haircut until she's a bit more comfortable with us.
She's not that shy anymore. She just wants...
Yeah, I know that, but I don't want... She's getting... She was really shy the first day. Really scared of, like, everything. Like, story time, right? I was looking over a paper with Miss Nikki for one of my school projects. We were looking over it just to... Because I like to have someone double check my big midterm projects. Just to make sure I haven't done something really dumb. And while we're doing...
should really be you of the day after.
I mean, I do it of me of the day after, usually. But even then, I still like to have a second person check. It can never hurt.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, we were doing that. Izzy was sitting on Miss Nikki's lap as she was reading the paper, and then Caleb walks into the room and like opens the door semi loudly. Izzy freaks out, jumps up onto the desk, and then proceeds to mess up my APA formatting by pushing a bunch of buttons. I don't even know how she did it.
Oh yeah, that.
So
I really screwed that up then.
I mean, it wasn't too bad. She ruined up the formatting of my sources section of my APA format. So I had to kind of delete. I didn't know what she did, and I couldn't fix it. So I ended up deleting the two sources she broke, and just re-entered them in later with proper formatting.
Don't worry, you got a better grade because of it.
I mean, I got to tell my teacher about it in a Zoom class, so.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I got a better grade for it. Doubtful.
Yeah. So anyway, to go back to the numbers for a second.
Are we going back to numbers?
Just because I was going to say the integers and the floating points are the ones that are most important to your computer. And that's not entirely the case historically. Actually, your whole numbers would have been what your computer dealt with initially. At least the very early computers were whole numbers.
Yep.
But now, all computers typically operate on a default standard of how they handle integers, using 32 or 64 or 128-bit integers. And so they can do whole integers in memory. And that is what causes a bunch of the weird things that you see sometimes as well. Like, why does that work that way? Oh, because of rounding errors, because your computer's using integers. When you divide 5 by 2, what do you get?
I mean, 2.5. But for if you only have to use integers, no.
You get 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. On a computer, 5 divided by 2 is 2.
Yeah.
And there's a reason for that. And it's because there is no decimal place, so it just cuts everything off. So that's where rounding errors come from. Actually, rounding errors come from floating point doing the same thing, but at a much more narrow scale. I can't really explain it right now. It would take a while. But a lot of the weirdness that comes from computers and numbers comes from the fact that you don't have paper. You have on and off switches that can be either on or off, and that's it. And you only have so many of them.
Yeah.
So if you need more switches, well, you just lose that. You just lose that data.
It's the same principle that Minecraft Redstone runs on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Same vague idea.
No. Where were we talking about before we got onto this idea of numbers? Because I don't even remember how we got onto that.
Did we get here? Yeah. Okay, so we went back. How did we get here? Now let's make conversation forensics. We were natural numbers and...
By the way, we're actually forgetting technically real versus...
Yeah, randomness. We were on randomness before.
Yeah.
How do we get to types of numbers from randomness?
No idea.
Bowling and 37-10 splits.
I think that was just me talking about something I was watching interesting about statistics recently, which I'm like, oh, that's cool. I should save that.
Yeah. Yeah. So the only other thing that I can bring up now would be that I made sausage gravy yesterday, and it was tasty.
How does this have any context?
I have no idea. Okay. The context is, I undid my Google searches for the last topic, and what I went back to on the main page is ads for sausage gravy.
Okay.
Because Google. Thanks, Google. Recipe ideas. Sausage gravy recipes, because I looked for the recipe yesterday.
I mean, I guess that makes sense.
And by the way, all sausage gravy is pork sausage, flour, and milk. And that's it.
Yeah. What was the thing? I'm trying to remember. I was talking about... I actually kind of want to figure this out. If there's a benefit in not using milk in cooking for commercial goods to preserve longevity. Because, I assume milk would oftentimes go bad. Because I think I was talking about this when we were talking about jammy Dodgers, because they don't contain any milk. Okay. Why has the chat just evolved into posting cursed images?
I mean, that bookshelf is a little bit weird. But yeah. So, I am surrounded by animals. They're all napping. Let me see if I can get a proper picture of them for you.
I could go discuss my the stuff I've been learning in school, which is interesting, but I don't think other people would care about the financial situation of Hong Kong because I had to do that for research stuff.
Okay. So here's what we'll do with the last 10 minutes we've got. I have some pictures to show.
Okay, this is just a show and it's just a dog show and tell thing.
This is what the 3 dogs in the office are currently doing.
Sure, go for it.
As they're load, it's currently uploading. It's halfway. There you go. Each dog is doing in a different part of the office.
Izzy looks like she always looks like you've caught her doing something wrong.
That's just it's the problem with Izzy is that she's frizzy and she really, really needs a haircut.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give her a haircut this weekend. Also,
Yeah.
I did catch her because I just turned around again. You see that pack of water bottles?
Yeah.
And
That's
how
all
the
been
corners
chewed.
chewed up?
Yeah, that's her.
Yeah, and having that's
That's
not
why-
just her, but she's the one currently doing it.
Yeah, is that why she's being guilty?
That's what she's currently doing. Yes. Izzy. Now I'm scared that I'm talking about. She's going to go to sleep underneath Miss Nikki. So that's Izzy, and then Harvey is the one on the bed, and Henry.
I
on the floor.
have to get.
Henry's
hold
not
on.
responding to me.
Let me get more pictures. Okay, so this is Harvey. The lighting on this picture's terrible, Caleb.
He's under a desk. What do you expect?
I mean, I could throw it into Photoshop and fix it.
That's Harvey. He's 2 months.
Yes, he's a very little baby. He
gets to
weighs
say?
he weighs like 2 pounds.
No. Yeah. Okay.
So very very little dog. And then you've also got Henry, who he seems comfortable. But he also kind of looks like he's dead on the ground.
He's just flopped out. Found him.
He's just tired. He's had enough. Long
He's
day.
tired because now he has 2 playmates, and he gets hyper.
Yeah. How old is Henry? I think he's like 5 or 6 months.
I think Henry's 7 months now.
Okay. So a little bit.
Harvey's
older.
like 2.5, and Izzy's like 3-4.
Yeah.
Right, Mum? Harvey's 2.5 months. 2 months. What is he?
2.
Yeah. Harvey's 2 months. Izzy is 3. Really? 3?
Yeah, this is 3.5.
Okay. So Harvey's 2, Izzy's 3.5, and Henry is 7. Yeah. So they're all still puppies. And it's weird seeing Henry as the mature one. Especially with how bouncy he is. You need to get Saf to show the amazing pictures she got of Henry out on a walk.
Is it just him like just bouncing around?
No, she got him with the wind in his hair that made him look just like amazing.
I haven't seen that picture.
I do have the cursed image, if you want one, of Henry.
Sure.
For whatever reason, Henry doesn't do well with Flash. Like, yeah, like Flash. When Henry's looking right at you, you just see the flash. in his eyes.
What was the cause of red eye officially? It's something about the way your light bounces off your retinas, which causes.
Yeah, it's the fact that that when you stare into the light bounces off your eyes and goes back to the camera.
Hold up, I was reading about this in my Photoshop book, or my Photoshop class, about what causes red eye. I'm trying to remember what it was. So, give me...
Wasn't there a mode on the camera that was like...
Most
red eye, and it would do
Most... Yeah, Yeah, it's generally because red eye is caused by the camera flash reflecting off the actual the inside of your retina. So when you're in a dark room and your eyes have dilated, is it dilated or which one's expanding?
Dilating is expanding.
Okay, yeah. When your eyes are dilated and they're wider because you're in a dark room, it often causes red eye because of the way the light bounces.
I have one more picture because this just happened 3 seconds ago.
No, it's not
okay.
a 2-hour tangent Tuesday, Dal. We started at 6. 7, sorry. I'm bad at numbers.
There you go. Izzy just came over here, and I figured you want to see what she just did.
Okay, well, it's going to take a while.
It's
to load
loading. Come on. Send the picture already.
But
Answer that and we send it. Come on. Come on. I don't know why it decides to send some, quickly one time and then not the other.
it could be the inconsistency. It's your phone connected to the house internet, not the office internet.
Shouldn't be. I'll be resending again. Do that. And I'll check my internet, make sure I'm on the right one. I am on the wrong one.
That would do it.
Yes, it would. We do that. And then go back to Discord. And there we go. The bar shot out. So this is what Izzy just came and did.
Yeah, they're just sleepy dogs.
And Henry hasn't moved at all. And now he
No.
has.
It's because you said his name.
No, his eye was open, so he woke up, fidgeted for a second, and now is immediately back in the exact same as he was before. He had a little stretch. So yeah, those are the doggies that are out here. I don't know where Maggie is, probably avoiding the other place.
Probably.
But yes, this is what it's like around here in the office now because we have many puppies. And on that note, anything else?
No, I mean we could stop like a minute early because it's not enough time to start a new discussion topic, but we've run out of our current one.
And on that cute shell, it's time to end.
Okay, I'll accept that. I'll accept the stolen sign off.
Yes, and on that bombshell. Yeah. Okay. Thank you all for coming. We do have another episode next month. Right, next week. We don't have anything that's blocking us.
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Well, then we'll see you all next week. Thank you for coming.